So you've found a wonderful home in the East Bay that you want to make an offer on. But how do you decide how much to offer? I've got you covered. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. I am Simone Koga with That East Bay Life. I am a real estate agent here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I live and work in the East Bay, serving Oakland, Berkeley, and surrounding communities. If you're looking for information about the East Bay, make sure you subscribe and follow along. I'm putting out new videos every single week all about That East Bay Life. Okay, so if you've been thinking about buying a home in the East Bay, you've probably heard that it's a hot market, that there's competition and multiple offers, overbidding, underpricing. What does that all mean when you want to make an offer? So I'm here to give you clarity on the market and some tips on how to approach making that first offer. First off, let's get some context. It is a hot market, and it's really a hot seller's market. That may not be the news you want to hear as a buyer, but don't worry, now is still a really good time to buy, and I'll talk about why in just a minute. But it's a seller's market. What that means is that there's really more demand for housing than there is housing available. It's supply and demand. Really, the number of homes for sale isn't meeting the level of demand of the number of buyers that want to buy a home. And whenever you've got this kind of imbalance in inventory and demand, you're gonna see prices kind of start rising up. And that's really what we're seeing. Now, we've been in a hot market in the Bay Area for 8-9 years now. The East Bay's probably been hot for 7+ years. And we were actually seeing things start to cool off just a little bit. They weren't tanking, but they weren't growing as aggressively at the end of 2019. And going into 2020, we were thinking perhaps it won't be quite as hot. COVID, right? I mean, it changed a lot of things for how we want to live in our homes. Sellers that were planning on selling and have had their plans shift for one reason or another are staying in their homes, right? And so the homes that would have been coming on the market aren't necessarily. And then perhaps you are one of the buyers that have decided, you know what, if I'm going to be at home for a long time, perhaps I need more space, I need a garden, I need something more than what I currently have. Now, I did tell you that there's a good reason to buy today, to be a buyer. It's not all doom and gloom, okay? So interest rates are crazy, crazy low right now, like historically low. And that really means that you get to buy more if you want or save money if you want. For example, if last year you had bought a house for $1 million with 20% down and had a 3.75% interest rate, it's kind of standard. It might have been a little bit higher. I don't think it would have been any lower. If you had a 3.75% interest rate, you would have been paying about $3,700 a month on that $1 million home. This year, if you are able to get an interest rate of around 2.99%, and that's totally happening, there are even rates a little bit lower than that right now. That same home, $1 million with $800,000 loan, like a 20% down, that's like $3,350 a month. So you're saving $350 just because the interest rates are low. So, even though you may end up paying a higher price for a property, you may not actually end up having to pay more of a monthly payment than you would have last year. So one thing you really need to know about the East Bay market right now is that underpricing is really common. So what do I mean when I say underpricing? It means that a home that may have a list price of $1 million or $995 is not actually expected to sell at $995. The value of the home is usually quite a bit higher, and they're utilizing a strategy whereby they put a lower price on it, get more people in the door, get additional offers, and create this level of competition that might actually push it even higher than the last sale in the neighborhood, that might give it a little bit more demand and might push up that price a little bit more. But what that means for you is when you're looking online for a home for sale and you come across a really great home that's listed at $995 and you're approved for $1 million and you think, yay, I can buy this home. No, you probably can't, at least not for $1 million. It's not every home, but it's the vast majority of homes that sell well over the asking price. We can talk about how to find that small subset of homes that don't sell above the asking price in another video. Right now, we're going to focus with the actual majority of homes that you're going to encounter on the market. If you like it, there's a good chance a lot of people like it too, and that's what's going to indicate whether or not it sells above the asking price. So I get this question all the time. How much over asking should I offer? that's just really not the right question. The question isn't how much above asking should you offer on a home, it's how much should you offer based on recent sales of similar homes. How does this home compare to other homes that have sold recently? When you're working with your agent, maybe that's me, maybe that's somebody else, and you're trying to determine what to offer, you need to take a look at the comps, the comparable recent sales of homes in the area. Usually I like to focus on things that have sold within a half mile in the last few months. Like the most recent sales are going to be the most relevant. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but that's going to tell you a whole lot more than the listing price, because honestly, if the same home were listed by 3 different agents, they might all put a slightly different price on it. And so it doesn't really matter what the price is, it matters what the comps are. That's the first thing you want to look at. Okay, let's use an example. So let's say you find a home, a 3-bedroom home in Rockridge, really close to the BART station, fantastic location, you love it. It's listed at $995. Okay, that's a teaser price. You know how I know? Because the average 3-bedroom home in Rockridge this summer was selling at about $1.56 million. Actually, I think it's $1,567 was the average price of the homes that sold May through the end of August in Rockridge. So it's just not really worth $995. It's going to be worth a lot more. It's really frustrating, and I sympathize 100%. I work with a lot of buyers and I feel that frustration and that pain. I feel it myself sometimes, but I don't want to sugarcoat things for you. I want you to have real information that you can use when you're making offers on property. So take a look. What is the average home price in the neighborhood, right? And then how does that home compare to those other homes, right? It's not just, okay, so the average price is 1.5, so it's going to sell for 1.5. Well, does it have a view? Has it been beautifully updated? Has it been seismically retrofitted? It may sell for even higher. There are sales up to $2 million in that neighborhood for 3-bedroom homes. Does it, maybe need a lot of work? And I don't mean like, does it need to have a facelift in the bathroom or the kitchen? That's actually not going to affect the pricing very much. Most people are willing to take on a cosmetic fixer, but I mean, does it need significant amount of pest work? Does it need a new sewer lateral? Does it need new foundation? Does it have a funky layout without much of a yard? Those things might mean that it'll sell below the average. It may not sell at $1 million. It'll probably sell at 1.2, 1.3. It's really hard to get into Rockridge and under 1.3. But like those things are going to affect how it sells overall. So you need to take a look at what similar homes are selling for. And that's only a part of the equation, okay? You look at the comps, but you also have to look at the competition. How many people are interested in this exact home right now? If you are the only person that makes an offer, the seller's gonna have to work with you. You're the only person that came to their party. Doesn't mean that they're gonna drop their prices drastically. They may, but usually sellers have an expectation that they want to get X dollars and it's hard to get them off of that. But if you're the only person that's come to the table, they're much more likely to work with you on pricing. Now, if there are 2, 3, 4, 5 offers, okay, well that's gonna put some pressure on that price because that's a lot of people that are competing to get this home, and each one of them is going to bring their own offer to the table. And if a seller is smart, they're going to play you off of each other and work on getting even higher final sales price. If a home is getting 10 offers, 15 offers, even more, and that does happen, it's not quite as common to get 15, but every once in a while that happens, the price may go well above the average, even if it's an ugly duckling of a house, even if it does need work. If it has 15 offers, that means people don't care that it needs work, they still want it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the home is above average. What it likely means is that the average is adjusting upwards. The market is getting more aggressive since the last home sales. And that's why looking at recent sales, which I'd mentioned before, is really, really important. Things that happened 6 months ago, it's a different world right now, right? The market is very different now than it was 6 months ago. Things that happened 2 months ago might even be a little bit outdated. If the market is moving upward, meaning that prices are rising and rising and rising, a home that sold 3 months ago isn't necessarily the most relevant to the home that sold last week. And here's something that I really want you to keep in mind. A home that sold today was negotiated last month. right? It takes 25 to 30 days for escrow to close. So a home that closed today had been in escrow for the last 30 days. And when they decided on how much to offer and the seller agreed to accept the price, that was a month ago. So the data that we're seeing today is kind of a lagging indicator. You really need to focus on homes that have recently sold. Those are going to give you the most information. Homes that are pending, meaning they've found a buyer but the actual sale hasn't closed yet, you can sometimes find out what they're going to close for, or at least get an idea. A lot of agents are really reluctant to share what they received for a property until the home closes. There's a lot of reasons for that, partially superstition, but partially based in fact that like you just don't want to reveal that number in case something goes wrong. So you can sometimes get a hint to what the pending properties are going to be selling for, and that'll give you even better information than the homes that closed last week. So when you're working with your agent and looking at comps, take a look at those pendings, see what you can find out about those as well. That'll give you a lot of information that you can use. So for example, if a home that is very similar to the one that you're interested, received 8 offers last week. Wow, okay, so that's one person that got that home and 7 buyers that didn't get that home that are now looking for a home exactly like that one, which is the one that you want to write an offer on. Maybe not all of them will write an offer, but some of them might, and they might be extra aggressive now because they've lost out or because they know what that last one might have sold for or have an idea about it. There are a lot of things to weigh and consider when you go to make your first offer. I think this video that I made might be really useful, so check that out. And also take a look in the description box. I'm putting in a few resources that I think you might find really helpful. And make sure you subscribe, follow along. I'm putting out new videos every week all about that East Bay life. I'll see you next time. Bye.